Welcome back to my channel. Did you know that place values have a specific pattern about them to help you to remember them? What's this pattern? Let's investigate, shall we?
It's like every day.
So what is place value? So place value is the value of a digit according to its position in the number, such as ones, tens, hundreds, and so on. So as you can see in this chart here, these are called periods, and you can see that the positions or the place values comes in threes. So you have ones, tens, hundreds, then you have a break here. Then you have the thousands area, which is the thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. Then you have another break here. So these is where the commas would come in, right, when you're writing a number. Then you have the millions period. So these are called periods up here. So let me write that. Periods. So the millions period, right, millions, 10 millions, 100 millions. Then you'd have another break here with a comma. So here you see the number at the bottom here. So this number is 7,093,400,451, right? So that's how you would actually say it. Now, if you've noticed the pattern here, you have ones, tens, hundreds. For my British viewers, these this position, ones position, is called units, but we're going to stick with ones for now. So just follow me with this. So the pattern here, you have ones, tens, hundreds. Now, this pattern actually really does repeat itself as it carries on throughout the periods. So you have ones, tens, hundreds, and this is in the ones period because this is just 451 ones, right? But then when you go into the thousands period, you still have that same pattern. Ones, tens, hundreds, right? 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. Then it carries on into the millions period. Ones, tens, hundreds again, right? And then it would carry on into the billions and so on and so forth, forever and ever, right? So you have 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, 1 billion, 10 million, 100 billion, right? So it would just carry on all the way through. So the thing to remember with this pattern then is you have ones, tens, hundreds in each period. So that way, that would help for you to remember, right? That would make it easier to remember. Another pattern to notice with this place value is that if you move to the left, you are multiplying by 10 as you move to the left. So they come in tens, right? So you have 1, right? Then if you times 10, then that's 10. Times 10 again would be 100, right? Times 10, 100 times 10 is 1,000. 1,000 times 10 is 10,000. 1,000 times 10, right? So as we move to the left, they increase by 10. As you move to the right, usually the next video would be about decimals because there'd be a decimal here. Then after the decimal, you have place values that are in the decimal position, and that would be 1/10. But right now we're going to focus on the moving to the left, and they multiply by tens as you go along, right? So you say 451, right? So 1 times 10 is 10. How many tens are there? There's 5 tens, right? So you'd say 50. That's why this is 50. And then the tens multiplied by 10 again, right? So that would be 1,000, but there's 100, sorry, but there's 4 hundreds in this position here. Multiply by 10 again, you have 1,000, but for this number, there's no value in the thousands place or the 10,000s place, right? So there's just a number in the 100,000s place, which is a 4. So this becomes just 400,000, right? So that's how you would say it. So usually, as you go along, you'd remember the periods and then you would say the number and then the period, right? So 7 billion, 93 million, right? So the period comes after 400,000, 451, but we don't say ones, we just say 451 because that's just a standard ones, tens, hundreds number. All right, so this is a pretty good way to remember the place values, the periods, and the pattern of how the place values appear. Here's another great way to visualize the place values. So we have this place value chart here. So you can see here for the ones or units, this is just base 10 blocks. So you have 1 here. So that represents the ones. Now, 1, right? And you remember moving to the left, you multiply by 10 and then it becomes 10. So 1 times 10, now you have a tens block. Remember these from school? I used to love playing with these. So you have a tens block. So this is 10 of these units or ones. Then multiply by 10 again, and this 10 block times 10 becomes 100. So you have 10 of these gives you the hundreds, right? Because that's 10 times 10. And then you move from the hundreds times 10 would give you the 1,000 block. So you have this hundreds block, which is 10 times going back, which creates this whole 1,000 block here. So this is a great way to help the students to visualize what place values are, right? So they multiply by 10. So if you had a number, then it will be easier for them to represent that number with these base 10 blocks. So you can say, for example, if I put a 4 here, 5 here, another 5 here, and a 1 here, right? So usually what they would do to represent with these visuals, this would be a 1, right? But if there's 5 tens, they would have 5 10 blocks stacked here to make the 50. And then 5 hundreds, they would have 5 of these and 4 of these. And then that would give the representation of this value. So you'd have 4,551, right? So you'd put the 1 would be there, then you would have another 5 here. So I just do them but with sticks. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So that would represent that. And then for this, that's 100. And then you have 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? And then to represent the 4,000s, you have 4 of these blocks, which you could just probably do as a 3-dimensional. Right? Like that. That would be 4. Right? And then that would be the example of the student knowing the value of the numbers by using these blocks. That will really help them to represent what the number is by using these base 10 blocks. They're very good. If you had a question like this, write down the place value of each digit in the number 6,468. What would they require of you for this type of question? Well, the first thing is to know how to say the number, right? So you say 6,468. So the way you say it would tell you the place values that these numbers would be in. So for the 6, so it would be 6 because it's 6,000. So it would be 6 times 1,000. Right? So you'd write it like that. Plus, and 400. So that would be 4 times the 100. Plus, the 6 would be 60. So that would be the tens, 6 times 10. And then the 8 ones or units, right? So it would be 8 times 1. Right? So that would be the answer to writing down the place value of each digit. 6,468. Right? So then you have all of those areas there. So that would give you 6,468. So this is like an expanded form of that number. And then you put it down to the actual number now, which resembles this. So that would be a 6, 4, 6, 8. All right, and that would be how you'd write the number after you put them in their positions. So every digit in a number has a place value, and with these visuals that we have, that should help it to be more understandable. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, and subscribe with that notification bell so you'll know every time I upload, which is every Wednesday. And I'll see you next time in another math video. Thank you for watching. Class dismissed.